As the story begins, we are introduced to Faria, lying in his bed, reflecting on the death of his girlfriend, Sarah. His phone is buzzing with messages from friends worried about his absence from school. It's been weeks since he last attended, and while everyone believes he's grieving the tragic accident that took Sarah's life, Faria knows the truth. He killed her. Yet here he lies, not in despair, but in relief. No longer does he have to worry about being watched, controlled, or manipulated. Finally, he is free, or so he thinks. Faria recalls the early days when Sarah seemed perfect. Beautiful, with a soft, kind voice, eyes that sparkled, and a scent that reminded him of fresh flowers. She was the kind of girl any boy would dream of, and when she confessed her love for him, Faria couldn't believe his luck. His head was in the clouds, lost in the fantasy of being with her. But reality shattered the dream soon enough. Sarah wasn't who she seemed to be. Sarah knew when he was awake, when his lights were on, and she watched him constantly. One day, Faria confronted her. He couldn't take it anymore. The spying, the possessiveness, and even the knife she once pointed at him. He demanded to know what she really wanted. Sarah, with a calm but eerie smile, replied, "You don't need to want anything, because you already have me." Sarah likened their relationship to losing something important, saying she checked her wallet every half hour. If something valuable were to disappear, who wouldn't be anxious? Her message was clear. He was her possession. In desperation, Faria threatened to go to the police and break up with her. But before he could finish his sentence, she interrupted with a chilling promise. "I'll never break up with you, even if I'm dead." That day, Faria snapped. In a fit of fear and rage, he pushed Sarah down the stairs. He hadn't meant to kill her, but when her body lay lifeless at the bottom, he didn't stay. He fled. To his luck, the police ruled it an accident, and Faria thought he could finally move on. But just as Faria begins to embrace this freedom, a voice cuts through the silence. "How about a date with me?" Sarah stands before him, smiling as if nothing ever happened. Frantic, Faria shouts, "Aren't you dead?" Sarah, ever playful, jokes that his words sound like a movie line, before pointing to her missing legs, reminding him of her ghostly form. She tells him she loves him so much that she came back just to be with him. Panicking, Faria grabs salt from the kitchen, frantically throwing it at her, hoping it would banish her spirit. But it doesn't work. She's here to stay. Desperate, he shouts that she destroyed his mental health, that he's terrified of people now, all because of her. Sarah, looking sad, apologizes. She tells him, no matter what, she is still his, alive or dead. She says, "No matter what, I still love you, even if you are a murderer." Faria demands to know what she wants from him, but Sarah calmly replies that she's stuck in this world because of regrets. Faria, near breaking, agrees to her one request, a final date. They go to a cafe, one Sarah had wanted to visit while she was alive. As they sit at the table, Faria feels strange, ordering for only himself. No one can see Sarah, but he goes through the motions of the date as if she's still alive. When she asks him to feed her, he reluctantly complies. For a brief moment, he sees a sad smile on her face, a glimpse of the Sarah he once knew. As they talk, Faria begins to question everything. Was Sarah really that bad? Was he wrong to push her away, to call her a stalker? Guilt floods his heart as memories of the past resurface. Then the truth hits him. He killed her. Sarah admits she had always been afraid of losing him to someone else, and that's why she acted the way she did. Faria, consumed by guilt, breaks down. He asks if she hates him for what he did, but with her usual smile, Sarah says she doesn't mind being dead as long as they can still go on dates like this. She gently adds one last request. "Please don't turn yourself in. I'm not mad at you for killing me." Faria, sinking deeper into his thoughts, tries to convince himself that if he hadn't killed her, she would have killed him instead. The guilt, however, is relentless. A few days pass. With the school bell ringing, Faria notices that flowers have been placed on Sarah's desk in her memory. Her spirit still clings to him, ever present by his side. As they sit together, Faria asks Sarah what she wants for her birthday, and she, happy that he remembered, simply says, "That's enough." But Faria, dissatisfied, insists, urging her to ask for something. After a pause, Sarah smiles and asks, "Can we hold hands?" Faria, though they can't physically touch, stretches out his hand towards her. He watches as her face lights up with joy, even though their hands don't meet. Tears start streaming down his face as the weight of his unforgivable actions crushes him. He's overwhelmed by the pain of knowing that he killed someone who loved him so deeply. Later that day, after skipping classes, Faria asks Sarah if spirits can hold hands with each other. She responds softly, "Yes, sometimes. I bump into other spirits from time to time." Faria listens, but something inside him shifts. He silently climbs the protective cage around the school's terrace, standing at the edge, staring out at the world below. "I'm sorry I couldn't hold your hand for real on your birthday," he says quietly. Sarah, suddenly realizing what he's about to do, yells, "Stop! It's dangerous!" But Faria is guilt-ridden, his mind clouded by the torment of his actions. "I can't live after killing someone," he admits. "Even after you died, I couldn't stop taking sleeping pills just to escape my thoughts. I never listened to your true feelings, and I couldn't forgive myself for feeling relieved when you were gone." Tears streak down his face as he continues, "I can't live with this guilt any longer. I finally understand now." With a sad smile, Faria whispers, "Sarah, you did nothing wrong." He looks down from the edge and adds, "If I die, you can finally move on. I'm sorry for being such a bad boyfriend." And with that, Faria jumps. Sarah, in a panic, reaches out to catch him, but her hands pass through him, powerless to stop him. Faria watches from above, his spirit floating over his lifeless body. He sees Sarah crying over him, calling him an idiot for throwing his life away. Faria gently pats her head and apologizes. "I made you sad, but now you can finally move on." Sarah cries out, "I was happy just being with you. You didn't need to feel guilty. There are so many things you can't do now." Faria, resigned, says, "It's fine. This is the only way I can pay for my sins. I'm the idiot who died for you." But then Sarah's expression changes. A vile smile spreads across her face as she coldly replies, "You're such a big idiot. I'm surprised." Faria, stunned, looks at her in confusion. That's when Sarah finally reveals her true colors. "Everything I did was just an act." Faria, horrified, stares at her as she continues with a psychotic grin. "I've been waiting for you to die this whole time. I liked being with you, but it didn't mean anything unless I could touch you. The only way to make that happen was to drive you to suicide." Faria, still reeling from the shock, stammers, You tricked me?" Sarah corrects him coldly. "I didn't tell you to die, Faria. You did that all on your own." Her expression turns dark and twisted as she leans in, her voice chilling. "If you were going to be this guilt-ridden, maybe you shouldn't have killed me in the first place." With a sinister grin, she adds, "You said it yourself. It wasn't my fault. It's all your fault. And now that we're together again, we'll be stuck like this for all eternity." Faria, frozen in shock, realizes that his worst nightmare has come true. He's trapped with her. Forever.